this is Dodger and you're watching my show. So this was gonna happen yesterday, because it's Sunday today, but there was torrential rain in Los Angeles, which is very weird. We had tornado warnings, we had flash flood warnings, it was super strange. But there's a skylight right there, and the rain on the skylight made it sound like I was crazy. Like, it legit sounded like I was just having really bad audio problems. Like there was gravel up against the microphone. It was the strangest thing. But anyway, it's cool. We've got Sunday, and it's not raining today. It's just real overcast and pretty. So for our first piece of news, I should really move this wig, huh? So for our first piece of news, Steam Family Sharing is now available to all. So with Steam Family Sharing, you share your library between computers that you authorize, and you each have your separate games, you have your separate achievements. It's awesome. There are some games that don't work, and that's kind of determined by the developer, but for the most part, if you're like, this person is my family, then they get your entire library. Now, some people think this is real awesome, and some people think it's real dumb, but we can delve a little bit more into details about the program. You can have up to 10 devices, so there is a limit. Only one user at a time can be using the library. So say that you have a younger sister or younger brother and you're like, oh, I want them to have all of my games. If they're playing one of your games, it'll pop up saying like, you can't use your library right now, somebody else is. But I think that whoever owns the library is able to kick off the other person. There's also no offline mode with this. You have to be online in order to use somebody else's library, which also makes sense. Now, what I think is interesting is the people that just hear about this are like, this is a really pointless program, this is super stupid. But the people that have been using it in beta love it. So like for me, the way that I can see myself using it is we have a group of friends that all like to play the same games together, like couch games, right? But we're hanging out at different places sometimes. So it would be nice to have all of those computers shared on the same library of games so that whenever we hang out, we can all just be like, oh, let's play Star Wall, or oh, let's play Nidhogg, you know? All of those games are there, and it doesn't matter where we are. Oh, but Dodger, why not just have the person who originally owned the library, like, sign into Steam? Well, number one, that's a hassle. I hate having to log out of my Steam, it drives me nuts. But also, number two, what if that person's not there that day? What if the rest of the friends are all hanging out and that person has a previous engagement? We would still be able to play the game without them there and not have to text them being like, hey, can you send us your username and password? It's nothing sketchy. But there have also been plenty of situations where people have a family member that isn't able to afford as many games as they have. And so they're able to share with that family member or with that friend. Like, it's just, I think that it's a nice program. I think that it's something that, you know, if you want to use it, you can use it. And if it sounds stupid to you, you don't have to use it. And honestly, I think that that situation is better for Valve because then multiple people are buying the game instead of sharing their library. But I like that the option is there. Notch has confirmed that they are working on a Minecraft movie. So that's a thing. They are in talks with Warner Brothers, and also, this will not surprise any of you, they're also looking to have Roy Lee, who produced the Lego movie, oversee the Minecraft movie. Now, I have a lot of problems with this. Let me just step into the center. Let me step into the opinion center. So with Legos, the Lego movie, a lot of people didn't think was going to be great at all. And it was. It was fantastic. I don't know anybody that disliked it. But one of the things that was so charming about it was they're Legos. They're something that exists in the real world, and they were able to create a movie out of it. And it was fantastic, and it was so creative and interesting. It felt like you were there watching somebody play with Legos, and there was something very nostalgic about that for a lot of people, and then also just whimsical about that for everyone else. Now with the Minecraft movie, Minecraft has always existed in the digital space, and people have made movies out of Minecraft through machinima. So what would be different about this movie? Oh, well, Dodger, it's the tale of Steve, and he's showing up on the island, and he's gotta survive. No, that's done. This is done. I'm done with that concept. It's already been done. So what would they do differently about this movie to make it whimsical and nostalgic for people that love Minecraft, and just something that everybody watches and thinks, man, that touched me right here. I just personally think that if they're legit going to make a Minecraft movie, they're gonna have to think real long and hard about how to make it any different from the myriads of other Minecraft movies that have been created within Minecraft. How do they change that? How do they make that different? How do they make that whimsical and nostalgic and beautiful? For any of you Legacy of Kain lovers, no, it's raining! For any of you Legacy of Kain lovers, you've probably been looking forward to Nosgoth, the multiplayer Legacy of Kain game. I've actually been looking forward to this game, and I don't care about the Legacy of Kain universe at all. Vampires? They're vampires, right? Anyway, it's officially going into closed beta. You can register for it as long as you have a Squeenix account and you've filled out the formy thingy on the Nosgoth website. But basically this beta is going to focus entirely on siege mode, which is basically just capture the points, it sounds like. You've got like the people who are playing humans and then the people that are playing vampires, and the humans are trying to guard areas or points from the vampires. And the vampires are like, we don't want your points, we just want your blood. Honestly, I feel like we've come back around. Like, I was over vampires. I was real over vampires. And now I'm real over zombies. I'm totally okay with having a multiplayer vampire game. Like, that sounds great. But yes, if you would like to be involved in the Nosgoth multiplayer closed beta, then there is a registration form on the actual website, but you also need a Squeenix account, so make sure that you do all that. And then, over time, they're going to slowly pull you in to their web of vampires. A very interesting piece of news to me is that the European Commission is currently meeting multiple times with major companies like Microsoft and Apple to discuss free-to-play concerns. Your initial reaction might be, no, are big businesses gonna take away our free-to-play games? Or it has nothing to do with that. It literally has to do with protecting people from playing free-to-play games that aren't actually free-to-play games. And it's honestly mostly aimed at like protecting children from doing stupid stuff. So allow me to read you the 4 bullet points that they have decided upon. Number 1, games advertised as free should not mislead users about the true costs involved. Number 2, games should not contain direct exhortations to children to buy items in a game or to persuade an adult to buy items for them. Number 3, consumers should be adequately informed about the payment arrangements, and purchases should not be debited through default settings without consumers' explicit consent. And number 4, traders should provide an email address so that consumers can contact them in case of queries or complaint. Now, I'm sure that these are really condensed bullet points that are actually much more detailed, but like the way that it is now, you could argue that no game could get away with a microtransaction. Although, I guess if in the description of your game it says like, involves microtransactions, then you'd be fine. But within the actual game, like anytime you wanted to buy something, you would have to put in your password, which I'm fine with. That can't be any of that dumb stuff like on commercials where they're like, ask a parent to take you to Toys R Us today. Ding. I do know that in Europe specifically, there have been multiple, I want to say roundtables of gentlemen involved in creating a better world for all. There have been lots of discussions about how to put these sorts of laws in place so that free-to-play games aren't quite as exploitative. Also, North America has yet to do any of that, so whatever, we don't care. Exploit us. Diablo 3 has had a major overhaul. They had a huge patch that went into play that changed everything. I went into Polaris when the patch dropped, and there were like 3 or 4 different people that I normally talk to in the morning who were like, don't talk to me, I'm reading about the patch. I was like, okay. So the biggest part of this is Loot 2.0, which a lot of people who play Diablo or follow Diablo news have been excited for. It basically reworks the loot system, but there's also Smart Drop that's in play now, which makes it so there's a higher possibility of you getting an item that applies to your class. The difficulties of the game have also changed. There's now normal, hard, expert, master, and torment, I believe, and torment is also split into 6 other sections. So there's plenty. We also now have clans and communities, which has been asked for a lot. So if you're in the same clan, you all have your own chat, clan chat. It sounds like they've reworked a lot of stuff that made people really angry. And remember, on the 18th of this month, they're getting rid of the auction house. So lots changing. I played Diablo 3. I played through the whole game normal, and then I played through the whole game on the next difficulty, and then I was done. Like, I just didn't care to keep playing anymore. But I'm so curious to see what it's like how much it's changed. The final bit of news, Twitch beat Pokemon. So for any of you who aren't following it somehow, there's a Twitch channel called twitch.tv/TwitchPlaysPokemon that is crowd gameplay. It utilizes the chat room in order to make the character do things inside of the game. So literally, everybody who was in the chat was able to affect what was going on in the game. And it turned into just mayhem, but something that was really interesting to watch. So now we've got all these people talking about how crowd play could be its own genre and how they hope that it doesn't disappear anytime soon because it's such an interesting look at society and all this stuff. Interestingly enough, I'm actually really glad, just for this piece of news, that I didn't make it until today, because the second that they beat it, a countdown timer came up that said, hey, come back tomorrow. It didn't specifically say that, it just had, you know, 26 hours, which would have been today. So now, as of the time that we are doing this, they are currently playing Pokemon Crystal. They've started a whole new game. There is 85K viewers on there, so it's doing fine. And we'll see how long it takes for them to beat this one, although it looked like Democracy was only in play. There was no like counter at the top. So in the other one, there was a counter at the top, and if Anarchy was winning, then everybody's command was taken into account. If Democracy was winning, then it made it so that whatever the most commonly entered in command was, that's what would happen. So basically, Anarchy and Democracy was a way to still have fun and have that craziness, but when they were really stuck, they could just switch over to Democracy and then be able to get past it. So right now it's firmly in Democracy, and everybody's trying to change it. There's just Anarchy, Anarchy, Anarchy. Everybody's saying Anarchy constantly and it's not switching, so I'm wondering what that means. But you know, I'm glad that they're starting another game. I'm also glad that it looks like I'm starting to turn into an alien. But anywho, that is my show. Thanks so much for watching. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you would like to have coffee with me, you can click wherever I put the annotation and it'll take you to my other channel. The reason that this week I didn't make a video being like, hey, here's the money to give to all of the charities from our charity stream, is because PayPal still hasn't transferred the money over, which means that I still can't pay the companies. So that has been like more days than I expected it to be, but now I think this week I should be able to make that video. Whatever. But I hope you guys had an amazing week, and I will talk to you again next Saturday. Okay, bye-bye. Mwah!